Hi guys, good evening. Welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video, I'd like to do a delayed film review. I finally got around to seeing this. I watched it last night. Oh my gosh, it was so good. What a great movie. The Shape of Water. It came out last month, and I only got around to seeing it just now. Like I said, I saw it last night, and I'd love to do a film review. And not many of you may tune in for this, but I just wanted to get my opinion out there and speak my piece because this was a great movie. And before I get into it, of course, for those of you who may not have seen it yet, but you want to see it, I must advise you that this is going to be a spoiler-filled film review. So if you've not seen The Shape of Water, but you want to, do not keep watching or listening, as I will be going into giant spoilers. So you have been warned. That being said, spoilers from here on out now. What a great movie. You know, this was one of those movies where I heard nothing but good things about it. And I just I finally got around to seeing it. Also, I'm a big Del Toro fan. And I really I've enjoyed his previous work. And when someone told me that this film was like a love letter to the movie Creature from the Black Lagoon, which, as many of you probably know, is my personal favorite Universal monster film. When someone described this film as that a love letter to Creature, I just thought, okay, stop right there. I gotta see this. I want to see this. And you know what? That is exactly what this movie was. It was like a love letter to Creature from the Black Lagoon with a much more positive take on it. You know, it was interesting because the role of the monster wasn't actually played by Doug Jones as the amphibious man, but it was played by the awesome, the riveting, the unsettling Michael Shannon, and we've seen him in. He's been doing a lot of films the past couple of years, and this is probably one of his best films he's done lately. And he plays this great government agent, creepy, crooked government agent. Who's brutal and sadistic and ruthless to the poor amphibian. It does, however, bite off a couple of his fingers, which is like karma right there. So that's pretty sweet. But he did a great job. Oh, and Sally Hawkins as Eliza did a fantastic job. Richard Jenkins as her neighbor did a great job. Octavia Spencer, her friend and coworker, did a great job. Everybody, all the actors and actresses in this film did a great job. Everybody was so good in it and gave such riveting performances that it really moved you. Like, I felt really moved throughout the entire, like, throughout most of the movie. And when I say most of, I mean, like, as soon as they introduced the creature all the way up to the final scene, I felt like I felt like I had this emotion building up within me. And I think what it was is that this film had such a tremendous sense of compassion. Like, we felt sorry for the creature, for the way he was treated and chained up in that tank at the lab. We felt sorry for him, and we also felt sorry for Eliza. We felt sorry for Octavia Spencer. We felt sorry for Richard Jenkins' character. You know, each of these characters had their own little struggles throughout the film. And the creature obviously had the worst case, well, one of the worst cases. But it's like I feel like a big theme of the movie was struggle. At least that was my takeaway from it. Just one of my takeaways from it. And I feel like this movie was about struggle, how to deal with struggle, and how to ultimately overcome struggle. And clearly at the end of the movie, at least the creature and Eliza were able to overcome their struggle. And what was so interesting is that, you know, this movie was set in the 60s, in the early 60s. It's the height of the Cold War, and black people are still being mistreated, and homosexuals have to stay in the closet, and they can't quite reveal themselves to the world, as we saw with Richard Jenkins' character. And then we saw the mistreatment of the black couple in the pie restaurant when the pie guy turns real nasty and tells them to get out. And then we see Octavia Spencer's character, her struggle as well. It's just all, it's just all very. It felt very real. It had a real human connection to it, despite the fantasy subplot of the film where a woman falls in love with an aquatic creature. It felt like it had real human connection and struggle to it, and I think that's what makes this movie so appealing and so good, is that it felt so real in so many ways. And of course, it's beautifully shot, beautifully done. And one of the things I love about Del Toro is that he is a very much practical effects man. Granted, there's always a lot of CGI in a lot of movies, but Del Toro, especially in the design and the makeup, the costume of the creature, all of it, nearly all of it, I think, was probably practical effects, because there were some CGI moments, sure, but it's like the close-up shots of the Doug Jones in costume, just really breathtaking, really, really outstanding. And another thing that I loved about it is that, unlike other monster films where the monster is usually the bad guy, and he's after the lead character, which is either a man or a woman, and he sometimes is after the woman because he wants her, and the man has to save the woman from him, and the monster's defeated, the couple's reunited. That's what you typically see in a lot of classic Universal monster films, especially in Creature from the Black Lagoon. And I felt so happy at the end of this movie when Eliza is like transitions into like almost like the amphibious man, when he heals her neck and gives her gills so she can breathe underwater like him. It's that I'm like, this is fantastic. The monster got the girl, and he's not an evil, nasty, hostile monster. He was just a poor captive creature that was forced to defend himself when necessary. And it's like, this is like the scenario where the monster gets the girl, and the bad guy or the main villain or the main monster is the white human male. And it's just it was just there's something just so awesome about that. Just this concept of like turning things on its head and having a human character be our real monster of the film, and our aquatic creature somewhat being the hero or one of the heroes. It was just so well done. And that was another thing that was very charming about this movie, was the not only a phenomenal cast, but it was like a cast of misfit characters, none of whom had really accomplished or done a whole lot with their individual lives, but then they all come together to free this creature, and they all end up, I think, for the most part, becoming better people for taking a stand, for righting a wrong. And in this case, righting the wrong was setting this creature loose. And that was another thing too, is that I loved one of the supporting characters was a Russian spy who was posing as a scientist. And not only was he a spy who's sent to gather intelligence, but he was a man of conscience. He had a clear conscience. He knew right from wrong, and he wasn't all about espionage or beating the Americans and making the Soviet Union look good. He genuinely cared for the creature and did not want to see it killed or destroyed. And I loved how he ultimately helped Eliza free him. It was just there's just so many things about this movie that were so good, and it's just it's like a lot to wrap your mind around, but damn, it was a good movie. And it was also, not only did it feel real, but it had some lighter, funnier moments to it as well. Like when she says in sign language, "fuck you" to Strickland, and then Octavia Spencer quickly has to say, she's saying thank you. Or how like Eliza is smiling after her first night when she sleeps with the creature, which was kind of weird, but also at the same time, it was beautifully done as well. And then, of course, her friend is asking her, Zelda's asking her, "What are you so smiling about?" And it hits her in the look on her face. That was pretty funny too. Just so many great moments throughout the film. I don't know if it's going to win Best Picture, but it's definitely going to win something. Whether it's from somebody's performance or the special effects or the makeup, it's going to win something. But, this was such a good movie, and I'm glad I finally watched it, and I hope you all liked it as much as I did as well. So, what were your thoughts or reaction to The Shape of Water? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you like it? Were you kind of like meh? Were you somewhere in between? Please leave your thoughts, opinions, and your feedback down below in the comments section. I'd love to hear from everybody. You guys have been doing such a good job lately with leaving comments and feedback. I love it. Please keep it up. I really look forward to hearing what you have to say. Check out other film reviews I've done here on my film review playlist on this channel once you subscribe. And don't forget to go out and see The Shape of Water, currently playing in theaters. And have a great rest of the night, guys. And of course, until next time, may the force be with you.